trying to do. It's our practical application. We get all this theory, but what can we do with it? So today, I'm going to be talking about releasing the composer within. This is a handout. It's called Chordal Composition. We're primarily going to be looking at this today. We'll look at some of the other ones as well, but primarily we're going to be talking about how to compose using chords. Okay? And then we're going to talk about composing with a melody line. Now, to begin with, I want to play a composition for you that I composed, and I'll play it for you, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it. This is the original copy. Okay, you see how dog-eared and okay, this is my little 10-year-old handwriting. Okay, this is my 10-year-old handwriting. So this is a composition I composed when I was 10. Again, it's not something that is too far-fetched or challenging for students to begin composing and creating when they're younger. I have a lot of students that I will teach them the chords. And so right now, we're just going to talk about the chords for a second, but I'm going to present it in a way you probably have never actually thought of before. The C major scale. If you look at the top of this harmonic composition paper, it says, pretend you are using the C major scale and want to compose something in the key of C major. And then it has the C major scale. And then below it, it says there are 3-note chords, triads, built from the C major scale. So we're going up to the right, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major. Now, I will have my students practice playing that, both hands together, moving up to the right, and then practice doing root position, first inversion, second inversion, back up to root position. And then D minor, root position. Okay? And I will have them practice playing the different inversions. And I had a student several years ago, I was explaining to him, he had wondered what this whole 6/4, 6/3 weird thing is. And I said, it's just the intervals. You know, it's just a way for them to notate what the intervals on the outside are versus the intervals on the inside, whether it's first inversion or second inversion. And I said, I don't want to confuse you with that. I said, I'm going to teach you just kind of a simple way to help you remember. And this is what I explained to him. I said, in root position, do you see how it's evenly spaced? C, E, G. We have these two guys, and it's just evenly spaced. Any chord that is a 3-note chord that is evenly spaced, whatever note is on the bottom is the name of the chord. I said you could be here, 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 anywhere. That's the name of the chord. I said if it's in first inversion, I want you to see how we're top heavy. Do you see how we have 2 guys up here, and we only have 1 down here? That's top heavy. So I told the students, if you're top heavy, whatever note on top is the name of the chord. That is a C major chord. It's first inversion because it's E, G, C, but it's top heavy. And he got it. And then I said, let's go to second inversion, I said it's bottom heavy. Do you see how we have 2 down here and we have 1 up top? G, C, E. Any chord, 3-note chord, that is bottom heavy, whichever note is in the middle is the name of the chord. And he quickly was able to see visually and to catch on and say, oh, I get it. And then I said, what if we just did an octave interval with your left hand? So I said, start with the C major chord, just do an octave interval with your left hand. And then I said, for fun, let's start in root position, C, E, G. And we're going to take your pinky and just slide it over to the A. Well, now my notes are C, E, A. And I said, see how we have 2 up here? We only have 1 down here? That's top heavy. I said, what chord is that? And he said, oh, that's an A minor chord, because the A is on top. I said, good. With your left hand, play an A octave interval. So he went from C major root position to A minor, first inversion with the right hand, and his left hand was just playing the octave interval. And I said, great, you could do the same thing where you just move 1 finger. So if I took my E and I slid it over, now I have C, F, A. This is my F major chord. And he said it's bottom heavy, so whichever one is in the middle is the name of the chord. So he played an F with his left hand. Well, if you look at this, I created this to be a template to help students begin to compose. There are 3 main ways to compose. One is called melodic composition, one is called harmonic composition, and one is called holistic composition. And then I asked the students, what do you think melodic composition is? So if I ask you, what would you say? What is a melodic composition? Right hand. It's just a melody. Yeah. We just come up with the melody. It's a melody. My focus is on the right hand. It's a melodic composition. Now, the second one is called harmonic composition. What is a harmonic composition?
Built on chords.
Built on chords. Okay? Pretty much every rock group, that's all they do. Okay? And sadly, they only use like 3 chords, but that's what they do. Okay? Because they took the 1, 4, 5, and they just kind of broke off and 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5. Maybe they threw in a 6, 5, and that's about the extent of what they do. Okay? But they're using chords. It's a chord progression. And it's funny because throughout the span of history, we've had different chords that have been popular. Okay? We, in classical music, and in most pop music, we are using the major scale, and we are using the 1, 4, 5, 5, 7, 1 as our chord progression. In the minor key, we're using the harmonic minor scale because the chords that are created are from the harmonic chord progression. So it's that harmonic minor. Again, 1, 4, 5, 5, 7, 1 in the minor key. Well, it's interesting because you can recognize chord progressions with different songs and different genres. In jazz music, does anyone know the chord progression? It was on the tip of your tongue. They do a 2, 5, 1. Okay? 2, 5, 1. And you can write the Roman numerals if you would like. Okay? But the Roman numerals would just be a lowercase 2, well, lower Roman numeral 2. And many times they will add a 7th, because it's a D minor 7th chord. And then they'll go to a 5-7, which is their G7th chord. And then they'll go to a 1. That is what jazz musicians will do. 2, 5, 1. And so if you notice, again, from my C major scale, I'm playing 7th chords. C, E, G, B. That's my C major 7th. If I just play all 7th chords going to the right, 2, 5, 1. 2, 5, 1.
So you're doing 2, 7, 2, 7,
2, 7, 5, 7, 1, 7. Yep. It's a D minor 7th, then it goes to a G dominant 7th, then a C major 7th. Okay? So minor major 7th, major minor 7th, and then major major 7th if we're going by sometimes the classical terminology and the jazz terminology, they really are running in different circles. It's so funny because I have a lot of classical students who come and they're working on Rachmaninoff or Liszt, different pieces, and they always want to follow the sharps because they want to follow the circle of fifths. And all of my jazz musicians, they try to avoid the sharps because they want to go through the flats. Because in jazz music, they follow the circle of, they call it circle of fourths or cycle of fourths, where they're going through all of the flats because of this 2, 5, 1 chord progression. Now, we'll come back to that in a second. Today, if you have a pencil and a paper, I would like to have you start creating your own composition. Okay? If you look at this, I'm going to go over this, and then on the back, it's blank. For you. Or for your students. And I can email a copy of this to Tori, and she can send it to the entire chapter, that anyone can print these off. You can share these with your students. It's just a template, and I only brought the chordal composition. I have one for the melodic composition, where it just does a melody as well. But you can print those off and have your students try to create a melody, or try to create a harmony. So I want to talk about this today. Let's look at this, and I'll explain what to do. Do you see how it says these are the 3-note chords, the triads, built from the scale, and then I give you an example, C major scale. If you notice, I have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major. And then I actually blocked off just the first 5 and said with younger students, only have them do the first 5 chords, just to help them practice moving to the right and playing those 5 chords. Now, if you notice, right below it, I said primary chords, and I have a circle. 1, 4, 5, 8. So I tell the students the primary chords are 1, C major, 4, F major, 5, G major, and 8, C major. Now, we could say 1, but I want students to say 8, so then they practice going up to the higher C major chord. So I just tell them 1, 4, 5, 8. Those are the chords that are used more often when you are composing, because they are the major chords. Now, if you're creating something that's really scary but if you're creating something dark, you wouldn't use the happy sounding chords, just because you want it to sound sad and depressing. But as the students, your boys probably will want it to sound sad and depressing. Okay? But if you look at this, I tell the students the secondary chords are 2, 3, 6, and 7. 2 is D minor, 3 is E minor, the 6 is A minor, and then the 7 is B diminished. So I have the students start composing using numbers, 1 through 8. And I tell all the students, avoid number 7. Because it's the diminished chord. I tell students it's kind of the demented chord. Okay? And if you are trying to compose a scary sci-fi thriller, it will work. It will sound great. But if you're trying to make something pretty and you want to use that chord progression, unless you're modulating or changing keys, avoid the 7th chord completely. Because the diminished really destroys whatever you're trying to compose unless you know how to use it. So I tell the students, avoid number 7. And if you notice, I just put down lines. Do you see how I put down 1, 4, 6, 5, 2, 4, 5, 1? I have just 8 spaces on the back, they're blank. And I tell students you start on 1 and you end on 1. Most of the music, the majority of the music out there, if it's in the key of C, it's going to start with the C major chord, and it will end with the C major chord. If it's in a minor key, it will start with the minor chord and end with the minor chord. Now, that rule does kind of get thrown out the window if we're doing a modal piece, where we're using Dorian mode or Phrygian, but I'm not going to talk about the modes today, so don't worry about that. So, what I tell students, start with the C major chord in this example and end with the C major chord. And if you notice, I wrote random numbers. Sometimes I'll have the students just call out random numbers. I'll say 1, and then I said 4, 6, 5, 2, 4, 5, 1. Nothing fancy about it. And there I even show you, this is how it looks without changing the rhythm, without even changing the style. Okay, I just play whole notes all the way through. And what I tell students is, once you've written down your numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, well, avoid the 7. Once you've written those numbers down, I tell them, it's like kindergarten. 1 is C, 2 is D, 4 is F, and I just have them put down what the chord is. Now, do you see how I have that C major, F major, A minor, G major? That's kind of boring, okay? Not really that exciting. Look what I did right below it, though. I said, now I have changed the chord position. And then, do you see how I have kind of inverted some of the chords? They're not all in root position. Some are in first inversion, some are in second inversion. I'll actually have the students just write a 2 and say, I want to start with a second inversion, or to write a 1, I want to start with first inversion, or an R if they want to start in root position. And this really helps them get their inversions down, where they're practicing playing all different inversions. So listen to this. Now I changed the rhythm. We have a dotted quarter followed by an eighth. So listen to this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. With my left hand, what did I do?
Octaves.
I just played an octave interval. And I tell the students, if you have smaller hands or if you're younger, just play the note. If you're playing C major chord with your right hand, just play a C note with your left hand. Then if you go to an F major chord with your right hand, play an F note with your left hand. If you go to an A minor chord with your right hand, play an A note with your left hand. This is how composers start creating. And they start taking a simple progression and they start coming up with something they can either sing along to. They have this progression. And the students, when they start doing this, all of a sudden everything comes alive for them. Okay? Because it's theirs. I remember when I was younger, I would play a piece by Bach, or I would play a piece from something that was on the radio or something that was from a television show, and it was great. It was nice. But I remember a few times I actually went and performed something I had composed. And I kind of had to twist my teacher's arm a little bit. Please, just let me. I can do this. And so I played something that I composed, and guess what? To have someone come up and say, you wrote that? That's yours? That's your composition? Instantly, that motivates me much more than, oh, you played Bach beautifully. Thank you. Yeah, all of a sudden, it's mine. I take ownership because I composed it. I have that connection. My spring concert for my piano students, I refer to them as concerts. I know they're recitals, but I call them concerts because I perform as well, and I just sit down in the audience, and I don't stand up. And they really have turned into concerts because I have guest artists that come and perform. We've had guitarists, we've had a jazz band, and they'll play along with the students. And it's really cool, really kind of a fun experience. But our spring concert that is coming up, I told the students about a month ago at our fall concert, you all are going to compose your own piece. And we're going to have you perform it. And we will print it out. I actually put it into Finale and print it out for them. And then I even told them and said, if you want to, we can create minus tracks, where we have all these additional instruments playing along with what you've created. And they are so excited. I have one student that keeps saying, okay, stop composing, stop creating. Okay, you know, it's great you've composed 2 new pieces this week, but what about your music we're working on? We need to, you know, do both. We need to, and then I have some, of course, that are just scared to death. But this is what helps them. This is what actually can get them focused. So watch this. I'm going to turn the page over. Does someone have a pen I could borrow? I thought I had one.
That works.
Thank you. That works. Good throw. All right. So I'm going to turn the page over. Let's start And I'm just going to show you an example, okay? Let's say I want to do something minor sounding. So I'm going to, at the top of the page, do you see how it says what is the scale you choose, and it has a blank line? And you don't have to write this, you can choose whatever you want, but I'm going to put A minor is going to be my key signature. And now watch, down here, I'm just going to, and I have the students write out, using whole notes just to begin with, I have them write out what the scale is. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp. Why did I use G sharp? Harmonic, okay? The chords are created using the harmonic minor scale when we're in the harmonic scale. So now, right below that, it says to write out the chords. Well, the chord progression actually changes. Instead of being major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, and I can send you one that has the minor chords as well. But do you see where the 6 is? In the minor key, that actually is number 1. Okay, because A is the relative minor of C major, and A is the 6th. So that would be 1 in the minor chord. So the minor key, if I'm starting on A minor, that would be my 1. My 2 would be B diminished. My 3 would actually be C augmented because of that G sharp, right? Okay, so my 3 would be G augmented. And then, what is my 4th going to be? A minor, B diminished, C augmented. My 4th would be D minor. And then my 5th would be E major. So my primary chords are going to be A minor, D minor, and E major. Those are my primary chords. My secondary chords, I have B diminished, C augmented, I have F major. Even though it's major, it's still going to be a secondary chord because it's not the 1-4-5. We're still using the 1-4-5. And then the G sharp diminished. Do you notice how we have 2 diminished chords? We have 2 diminished chords. So watch. I'm going to write down, do you see where it says start composing using the numbers? We're just going to call it random numbers. Okay? It says start on 1, so that's going to be my A minor. Okay. Call it a random number. 6. Someone said 6. And remember, avoid the 7. Okay? What's another random number? 1 through 8. What do you want? 3. Okay. I will see your 3, so I will write it again. And I'll raise you 4. Okay. What else? Do you have just
5.
5. Okay. 5. So we have 5. 1, 6, 3, 3, 4, 5. What is another one? 2. You're missing the 2. We have to have the 2. Okay, so watch. It starts with A minor. Okay, that's the 1. What is the 6? So what was that 6th chord? A minor, B diminished, C augmented, D minor, E major is the 5, and F major is the 6th. Okay, so I'm going to put F major as my 6th. My 3 is my C augmented. That's kind of the weird one, huh? C augmented. And I play that twice, and then I go to the 4, which is D minor. And then I go to the 5, which is E major. And then I go back to the 2, which is my B diminished. Okay? And then I end on my 1, which is A minor. Okay? Now listen to this. E minor. I'm going to play in root position, E minor, then I go to F major, then I go to C augmented, and I play C augmented again, and then I go to D minor, and E major, then B diminished, and then E minor. Kind of dark, okay? It's in the minor, okay? So what if I start playing around with it? A minor, F major, all I'm doing is taking a chord progression, random numbers, and then with my right hand I'm changing the inversions. And what I tell students, practice playing root position. Sometimes, and my students at first, they're a little leery of this, but once they practice, they get much faster, because I will say, I'll call out a chord and I'll say, play A minor. And I'll say, now play first inversion. And I'll say, play second inversion. And I had one student that he wanted to play for his concert piece, his recital piece. He said, I want to play C major. That's it. All the inversions. I said, okay, we're going to make it sound really cool. Okay? And I said, but you really have to practice your inversions. And I said, then we're going to practice doing the octave chords, where the triad, C, E, G, the C major octave chord, I just add the C on top. If you ever hear a really big, okay, kind of dramatic sounding piece, all they've done is they've taken whatever the root is and they've added it up on top. C major octave chord. Just one chord. Okay, we're doing the octave.
Okay, so what was your left hand doing?
My left hand, I played C. Just C octave interval, all the way up. That is what my left hand is playing. And it's fun for the students to begin to take this and start to create something. They compose. You can do the same thing with a melody. Okay? Let me go to where it says start on 1. Okay? And we're going to call out random numbers for a melody now. And I'll send you the melodic one, but call out random numbers. Remember, we start with 1. What key do you want to be in, by the way? We did minor, so maybe not minor key. Let's be more positive and happy now.
E flat.
E flat. E flat major, okay? So we're going to start and end with an E flat for our melody, okay? And we'll be happy, we'll be upbeat and positive, okay? So 1 is E flat. What's the next number? Okay? I'll put 2. What do you want to put now?
6.
6, okay? And you don't have to think about what will sound good. You can just call out random numbers, because as long as you're not using 7, all going to work. Okay? So 1, 2, 6, then what?
4.
4, okay?
5.
5, okay?
3.
3, good, we forgot 3. Can't forget 3. And then what?
6.
6, okay? 6, and then we're back to 1. So, in the E flat major scale, 1 is E flat, 2, I have to ignore my minor key, so I don't confuse myself. E flat, then we go to F major is 2. Okay? What is the 6th? C. So C is 6. Okay? And then 4 is the A flat. And then 5 is the B flat. Okay? 3 is G. 6 is C. And then back to 1, which is E flat. This is our melody. E flat, F, C, A flat, B flat, G, C, E flat. Now, it's not very exciting, okay, as a melody. We can do better than that. But it's a good starting point. And this is what I tell students. As the composer, you can say, oh, I like that, and you can start to change the rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Say, oh, A flat. And I have students, I'll say, cross out your A flat. Put a big X there and say, I don't like you A flat. And so I have the students, I'll say, just, get rid of it. As the composer, you can say, I don't want you anymore. Be gone. Okay, so I have the students say E, F, C, and they'll say, oh, keep the B flat, just go right into that B flat. And I'll have the students start to hum the melody. Because if you can hum the melody and get it into with my more advanced students, I actually will have them hum something and then embellish it with their mouth. Okay? And then I'll say, now play what you just hummed for me or sang for me. And it kind of scares some of them at first. Like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. If we were arranging that, and you have a Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, some of you do, sorry, I'll give you the entire handout, so you can email it to everyone. But it has variations of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Well, if we take okay, how would we embellish that? What could we do? Okay, we can easily do something like that. Okay, whatever you want to do, and I'll tell students, if you can hum it and then you start to play what you hum, you can actually not only improve your ear training ability, but your playing. And I'll have students try ba da 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 bra da 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 do 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 do, and they'll say, "Do I have to do all those bra bra?" And I say, "Yes, bra bra bra." Sometimes I'll hum something and say, okay, now play this, or I'll have them hum. And they're actually much more excited if they can hum it, instead of having me hum something, because they know I may hum a little more challenging melody for them to play. So they have now learned, no, I'll hum it, you know, don't worry, I can do it. But that is what I have them do. So go back to this E flat F C, watch. E flat F C, B flat, G. Well, that could be one motif. Okay? In composing, you have a motif. You have a musical idea or a pattern. Well, they could do that and come up with one, and then you could have them write, you know, maybe have 8 more blank lines, and then say, write 1 through 8 again. And this will be your second musical idea. So what if we did, and I'm just going to cross out the A minor because it's staring me in the face, E flat, F, C, B flat, G, C, E flat. Now, what if I do, instead of doing that, I'm going to go back to what we wrote for the minor key, the 1, 6, 3, 3, 4, 5, 2, 1. How we were doing the chords, 1. But now I'm going to use it for a melody. Why not? We can just use the same thing. So, 1 would be E flat again. And then 6, okay, is the C. And then 3, we're back down to G, and then we play G again, and then the 4 is the A flat, 5 is the B flat, 2 is F, and 1 is E flat. Now, I'm going to wander just for a second. Let me show you what I did. Okay? And I crossed out the minor piece that we had created. This is the first line, E flat, F, C. I crossed out my A flat because I didn't like it. B flat, G, C, E flat, and then the second line, I just took what we had written out for the first minor song. Instead of using the chord progression, we can just use the melody. And so I wrote E flat, C, G, C, A flat, B flat, F, E flat. Okay, does that make sense to everyone, what we did? So we start with E flat, F, C, got rid of Mr. A flat, went to B flat, G, C, E flat. And then E flat, C, G, G, A flat, B flat, F, E flat. Okay, that is my melody. You want me to play it? And I'll just play right hand only, and then I'll show you what we can do to enhance it. Okay? So watch this. E flat, F, C, B flat, G, C, E flat. And I could go down to the C below. I'll probably go down G, C, E flat. Now watch. E flat, C, G, G, A flat, B flat, F, E flat. Okay? Without rhythm, and I tell students this is why rhythm is so important. And I'll have the students do the same thing that we did for this, where I'll write out 8 lines, and I'll say, okay, now you can choose whichever rhythm you want to go with what you see above. So if you have an E flat, right below it I'll say, do you want it to be a whole note? Do you want it to be a half note? Do you want it to be a quarter note or an eighth note, 16th note? Do you want it to go ba-da, or do you want to do da-da, da-da, da-da? I'll have them tell me what rhythm they want to use. So they're the ones really creating the style and the rhythm. Now, with my left hand, in all of my books that I've come out with, I like to teach theory. This is my little boy, Preston. Okay? I have a little girl, her name is Summer. She's 8.5. She's all girl. And I have a little boy, his name is Preston. He's almost 2.5, and he's all boy. Okay? He takes after his father. He's wild and crazy. So, in all of my books, this is a book called The Dawn of a New Age, and it has 12 New Age songs that I composed, and I have left-hand patterns. And these left-hand patterns are taught by telling the students to play 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, or 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12. Okay? Those numbers represent the intervals of the scale. So watch this. This left-hand pattern at the very top says 1 to 5. C, G, C, G, bum, 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 and I'm just playing eighth notes. What if we go to our piece that we are creating? We're in the key of E flat. So my 1 would be E flat, my 5 would be B flat. 1, 5, 1, 5, bum, 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 and I'll start playing. Stay on the E flat for the next line. What if I want to go down to maybe A flat? I'll still be in the same key. 1, 5, A flat to E flat. And then I'll go back. We could change the style. Now I'm just doing octave intervals. I was doing my melody that we created, but as octave intervals, and I was changing the rhythm. Because I like to change the rhythm and try different styles and rhythms. But the students get to create. And sometimes their creative spark, it just goes on, it ignites. And it is so fun to watch them. Because I have some students that sight reading, they're having a tough time doing it. But then when I've had them compose, all of a sudden, I had one student, and sight reading for him was really, really tough. And I have them, as they're composing, I want them to count the rhythm and say, okay, is it a quarter note here? Is it an eighth note? And 1, 2, 3. I want them to count the rhythm. And I had one student that we were putting it into the paper, putting it on finale so he could play it. And he said, oh, no, that's a quarter note. It should be 1 and 2, and then come. I said, oh, okay, good for you. That's great. Because before, he was really struggling with his rhythms, and now he's got his rhythms. Because by doing this, working on his own composition, he was then able to actually sit down and say, okay, what rhythm am I doing? And I will have the students, have you ever seen these? Okay? Really expensive sticks is all they are. It's overpriced pieces of wood. That's what they are. But I will clap these out, and I'll have them play the chord. They'll follow the rhythm. They'll match the rhythm. I have a set of conga drums and bongo drums that I'll have them practice doing the same thing. With their sheet music, I actually will put their music they're working on the stand, and then I'll say, okay, the right conga drum is the treble clef. The left conga drum is the bass clef. And I want you to tap the rhythm out. I have a full drum set as well, so they get really excited if I take them over to the full drum set. But it's a great thing for them to get the rhythms down. The left-hand pattern from this book, what if we did 1, 5, 8, 9, 10? E flat, B flat, E flat, F, G, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. It doesn't matter where I start. I can just play 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. I can go major, minor, and if I use that pattern, same notes that we wrote out, but my left hand is doing 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. This is a great worksheet for the students to practice, because what it helps them do is see how all of this theory we're learning about triads and the scales, how they fit together. And I've even had times when I just call out random numbers. I took a university course up at Weber State University when I was at the college, and one of my favorite classes was a public speaking class. And I love public speaking. But what he would do, the entire class consisted of 2 boxes. And in one box it had a topic. And in the other box it had a time limit. And so we had to choose what our topic would be. And it could be like fungus, it could be, okay, I mean, you name it. He just had all these weird, bizarre topics, and then the time limit. 30 seconds, all the way up to 30 minutes. Okay? And I remember receiving one weird topic where it was talking about like Tibetan tribes or something, and I pulled out the 30-minute thing. I thought, I don't know anything about Tibetan tribes. But we had to either BS or make something up or talk, and the students would write out every vocal segregate we said. They would actually notate what we were doing to either get off topic, stay on topic, and it was a great class for us to really watch what we were doing. But I do that with my students, where I will pull out a chord progression, and then I'll pull out a key signature. And I'll say, okay, we're in the key of, let's say we're in the key of F. What if I said 1, 4, 5, key of F? And I have one student who, that's all he wants to do, is have me call out random chord progressions. 1, key of F. If I went to 4, this would be my B flat major chord. So 1 is F major, 4 is B flat, 5 is C major. 1, 4, 5. I can go to 3. 4, 5, 1. Take a simple little pattern and try it in all keys. Okay? To take one little song and try to change keys. What if we did that with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? Where we tried it. Going through every single key signature. Right now, I would, and if you want, after the presentation, I can play any of the pieces from any of my books. I am currently finishing my 19th book, Sweet Melancholy. This is more of an advanced book, but this is more classical by nature. This is called Sweet Melancholy. Right now, I actually have this book comes out, it'll probably be finished by conference, by the convention this weekend. But this book is a free book on my website that piano teachers and piano students all over the world have said, please just put it in a book format. Because it's over 200 pages, and they said, please. It has all scales, all chords, all inversions, all keys, where they are practicing, you can pass this around, where I have the students practice doing all of the 6 chords, every single inversion, up and down, through every single key, locked and broken, going through all of the different key signatures. Piano teachers and piano students will say, well, how can you compose or how can you create or do this? And I tell the students and the teachers, it's just because of the theory. It's applying the theory and saying, this is the theory, this is what we can do with it. It's kind of that practical application where we say, I have this theory, what can I do with it? I'd like to play for you right now all of my, and we're finishing it right now, right? Is it
11:30.
11:30? Okay. Well, that's enough time. Good. Let me play for you something. This is called Triumphant, and I'm going to play with the minus track. I started an annual subscription on my website where I have a new weekly cool song and cool exercise I come out with every single week. And it has been fun. I do a cool song and a cool exercise, and I create a minus track where the students can play along. I have all the different instruments playing along with them. And the students love playing with the accompaniment parts. And I have it at performance speed and also practice speed. And it's been great for the teachers because every week they get a new cool song, a cool exercise, and they get a license where they can just print off as many copies as they want. They can email them to the students and have them play along. Let me play for you Triumphant. I'm in the process of going through all of the pieces from all of my books and creating minus tracks. This one, I recorded in the studio with all of the musicians, and those studio musicians are fantastic. They are animals. You know, I brought in a fully scored piece of Triumphant. I wrote out all the parts for all the instruments. I had an 8-piece orchestra, which was very, very nice because I didn't want to pay to have a 30 or 40-piece orchestra. And this way you can just keep layering. With those 8 musicians, we can record it as many times as we want, so then it sounds like we have a 24-piece orchestra. Okay? And so it was really great that they just sight-read all the parts as if they had played them their entire life. And the other musicians, they sight-read all the parts as well. So let me play for you Triumphant. This has a minus track where the piano part has been removed, and you'll hear 4 clicks, and then I'll come in playing. boys and girls like to play it, but it's a fun piece to play along with the minus track. And the nice thing is, as you compose, and I have students that I will say, I'd like to have you start composing with lyrics, where they will write the lyrics out. I have quite a few albums that I've come out with, and singles that are on iTunes and Amazon and different places, but I'm coming out with a few albums that are more pop ballads of songs that I've written that have lyrics. Let me play the first part. Let's give you a little sampling just to show you. And this is something you can have students start at a very young age. Even beginning students, I will have them try to create a song with words and then try to play it, and I will sing along while they do it. Listen to this. This is a song I wrote for my wife. Well, many of the pop love songs are ones that I've written for my wife. Don't already, I have students when Walmart or any other store is having their back to school sale, I have them stock up. And many times I stock up and I will go, they think I must own a school or something, because I'll go in and get like $60 worth of these at 12 cents a piece. So I stock up because what I do, this is what I do, I call it compose like crazy. Okay? Every day I compose and I write down in here. For me, I found that it was faster if I wrote things out like this, where I have my treble clef on top and my bass clef, and I write down what the letters are, and then I write out my counting above. I am in the process of starting to put down all of my compositions from think 5 or 6 years ago. But the problem is I keep having all these notebooks, so I have a lot of music that I need to put down. As I come out with a new book, I want to teach the theory. I want you to look at this. This is the dawn of a new age. Okay? These are left-hand patterns. And here, you can pass this around. There are a few up there that you can grab. I'd like to teach left-hand patterns. And it shows different left-hand patterns. 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 5, 8, 9. Instead of just having them play fun, cool-sounding music, I want them to actually learn something. Look at this. If you have a book, go to page 4 and look at these left-hand patterns. I explain what the theory is with these left-hand patterns, and then I show it to you in a piece. Okay? So look at this. Let's go to page 5. Do you see where it says heaven on earth? This is an example from the piano solo. It's the 3rd line down. Okay? And we have 4 flats. And the pattern, it says this left-hand pattern is created by playing the 1st, in this case, A flat. It doesn't matter where I start. But the 1st, then the 5th, then the 8th, then the 9th, and the 10th. Okay? So watch. 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. And then you can also add the 12th. See that? Or we can go up to that 12th. Well, watch. This is from heaven on earth, and it's showing them. But now, if you go to page 32, let me play this for you. This is actually my wife's favorite piece from this book. And I have an album over there that has all of these pieces that I had recorded when I was in the studio. But listen to this. I want them to practice doing 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12. 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12. 1, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12. It doesn't matter where they start. I want them to practice doing that left-hand pattern. And it's the same thing. It's just according to the key signature, whichever note they start on. Listen to this. pieces in this book were created first with the left-hand pattern. On page 4 and 5, all of the pieces in this book I first came up with a left-hand pattern that I wanted to teach students, and then I created the composition based around that pattern. So everything you see in here, this is just created using the patterns. I said, okay, I want to start in this key using this left-hand pattern, and I want to create this so I can teach students how to play. Okay?